presenting traditional Japanese Noh Theatre and understanding and performing gestures and movements. First, I'd like to talk about the history of Noh Theatre. Noh Theatre came from China in the 4th century and mixed with elements of traditional Japanese Kyogen theatre. This mixture created the modern Noh we know today. The main character in Noh is the shaite, and it acts as the protagonist. The shaite has no traditional archetype, as it can be present in many different forms and characterizations. One characteristic of the shaite is that it wears masks, but it's not limited to this. The shaite gives a traditional story and elements which are needed to understand the performance. Along with the shaite is the waki and the waki-tsuri. The waki aids the shaite along their journey and provides necessary information to the audience. The waki-tsuri also aids the waki in this aspect, as it provides information that the waki has not provided for the shaite. The waki and the waki-tsuri ultimately help the audience understand the storyline and how it's progressing. Next, we have the ai-kyogen. The ai-kyogen is present in the form of an interlude actor, and it serves the same purpose as the waki and the waki-tsuri, as it provides additional information to the shaite and information to the audience that is needed to understand the plot. There's also the jiutai, which is present as a 6 to 8 person chorus. The jiutai chants and sings along with the shaite, mimicking their actions and words to help the audience understand the performance and the storyline. Along with the jiutai, we have the hayashi, which is present in a band, having a small drum, a large drum, and a medium-sized drum along with a flute. The small, medium, and large drum also chant along with the jiutai, helping aid the story and understand the progression of the storyline. This is just a comparison of Noh Theatre and how they perform. So in Noh Theatre, it's centralized over actions and how you present yourself. In Noh Theatre, the actors such as the shaite and the waki-tsuri have very slow motions to help portray their emotions and how they interact with each other. Comparing this to modern theatre, we can see that modern theatre focuses more on facial and vocal inflections, while as Noh Theatre, the voices are very monotoned or simplistic, and the movements are very slow. The movements, as your actions progress, so does the storyline, and they help portray the character and the characterizations in all senses. This is a short video portraying some of the movements in Noh Theatre and how they are related to what I'm going to present in Elizabeth. We see here that the movement for crying in Noh Theatre is slowly raising your hand to your eyes as if to catch the tears. In extreme situations, since Noh Theatre focuses mainly on the extremity of your emotions, you will raise both hands to your eyes to portray extreme sadness. Along with this, when you greet a visitor, you will slowly come together and turn towards them. And then, if you're going to ask the visitor something, you will get down on your knees and beg of them. Another traditional Noh movement that's performed a lot by the shaite when they're asking for aid along their progression of the story is they will get down, crisscross applesauce, and sit and with their left foot, they will move their body turning towards the visitor, as if to greet them and ask for a favor. These are some movements that I'm going to be displaying in a moment. The first that Noh actors, such as the shaite, usually portray is stomping their feet up and down, not necessarily to portray aggression, but more so to express the emotion of necessity or importance. Next, Noh actors, such as the shaite, move their arms up as to express the raise and inflection in their voices, instead of actually raising their voices. Along with that is raising your arms slowly to the sky as if to beg for something, and clenching your fists at the side to portray a more serious tone. So I'm going to now read some lines from Mother Hicks by Susan Zetter. I'm going to do this as a traditional shaite character would do. First, I'm going to read the lines without any inflection in my voice and without any of the Noh movements. Mother Hicks is a witch, people say, and she lives all alone at the top of Dug Hill, and she works her magic on the town below. When cracks is seen in the dry creek bed, when the corn burns up, when a calf's born dead, Mother Hicks is a witch, people say. So as you can see in that, I kept my voice fairly neutral, and I didn't portray any inflection in my voice that would give off any sort of emotion other than neutrality. Now I'm going to perform this as a Shai-Te character, or the protagonist in Noh Theatre would, having slow movements and gestures which portray the necessary inflection of these lines. Mother Hicks is a witch, people say, and she lives all alone at the top of Dug Hill, and she works her magic on the town below. When cracks is seen in the dry creek bed, when the corn burns up, when a calf's born dead. Mother Hicks is a witch, people say. So as you can see in those lines from Mother Hicks by Susan Zetter, I portrayed the movements of a Shai-Te as I moved slowly, stopping my feet as I explained in this slide, and how I moved my arms very slowly to perform the gestures which a Shai-Te would. In these slow gestures, even though I didn't change the inflection of my voice and how I was saying the lines in regards to sadness, angriness, happiness, etc., I used my body to portray a sort of urgency and solemnness in these lines. Now I'm going to compare Noh Theatre to an Italian theater called Commedia dell'arte. In Commedia dell'arte, the characters move very quickly as if to explain, as to portray urgency and how they interact with each other. Commedia dell'arte, the inflection in their voices is very widely used, and it ranges from a whole range of emotions. Now comparing this to Noh Theatre, we see really the difference, as Noh characters don't change the inflection in their voice, and they have very slow movements, and they don't interact with each other as the characters in Commedia dell'arte do. So we really see through this how two different world theaters and their cultures and their traditions affect how the characters portray themselves. And even though in Noh Theatre we have the characters moving slowly and gesturing towards one another in a way that is not necessarily how the characters in Commedia dell'arte do it, both theaters get their point across and portray emotion in completely different spectrums. As I was researching Noh Theatre, it really broadened my sense as a learner, as I was able to really become culturally involved in something that I wasn't necessarily before. When I first started researching Noh Theatre, I realized that I had to delve really deep to actually gain a great understanding of Noh Theatre, because it is so unlike anything I've ever studied before. I've always been accustomed to portraying emotion and changing the inflection of my voice that way, and moving in a way that would be obvious that my emotions were how they were in theater. So when I was researching Noh, I found it really interesting, and it impacted me as a learner, as I saw that even though you don't have to, even though I'm used to changing the inflection of my voice and moving a certain way, that is not necessarily how other cultures perceive it. And just because I'm used to something such as doing that, the characters in Noh Theatre really take on a different aspect of that, and it really broadened my sense as a learner, as going upon different theaters and traditions in a different light than I'm used to. So just as an overview, the characters in Noh Theatre, such as the Shai-Te, the Waki-Tsure, the Jiotai, the Hayashi, and the Aikyogen, all portray very slow, solemn movements and gestures. The gestures help aid along the story and portray emotion, and the movements are very slow in that aspect.